It is so good to be here on the Take the North podcast. Welcome in, along with Dan Wiederer of The Athletic, who is currently planted out at Halas Hall. I am Mark Grote of 670 The Score, and interestingly enough, I am at 670 The Score downtown. I did spend some time out at Bears headquarters in Lake Forest today, but I zipped back downtown for my score hit. Now we have all united here on the Take the North podcast. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You said planted at Halas Hall. I feel planted at Halas Hall. I feel like I cannot get unplanted here. At some point on this evening, I'm going to have to go home and I'm going to have to go see my family. But it's a playoff week. There's a lot of work. It was a busy day out here. We heard from a lot of people, and this is it. This is a divisional round of the NFC playoffs, and we're here to follow it every step of the way.
It almost feels like overtime for everybody, where every day this week is unpredictable. I felt energy out at Halas Hall today, and part of the energy is kind of like being pulled in different directions. Things sort of changed with their schedule out there and the media. I mean, it's all part of it. This feeling, the unexpected is going on right now with the Chicago Bears on the field. That is reflected out in Lake Forest. Everything just feels different in a good way.
Well, I also think there's a little bit of griping being done in the outside world when the playoff dates came out for the wild card round, and it was like, oh, why do the Bears have to play on Saturday? I think it actually benefited them because of the way that game ended and how emotional that victory was. They had an extra day to kind of cross the bridge emotionally from what that high of high was on Saturday night to what they have to get ready to do here this coming Sunday against the Rams. And I think it did give them an extra 24 hours to reset themselves, which is a big part of this week. You've heard it from players and coaches this week about the ability to kind of put that unforgettable win behind them, focus on the task at hand, and now you go about trying to find your formula for beating the Rams, who I think you and I both agree are a superior team, but the Bears only need to be better than them for one afternoon for 3 hours on a Sunday night in their home stadium, and the next thing you know, we'll be back here next week talking about an NFC Championship game with a berth to the Super Bowl on the line.
Yes, sir. The Bears did have a light workout out here at Halas Hall. They did a walkthrough practice indoors, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Because I was on the score while they were practicing indoors. So participation, which we'll get to in a second, the injury report, that is, we'll get to that in a second. That will be an estimate. But were you surprised, Dan, that they didn't have a full Wednesday practice today, that they did an indoor walkthrough?
Well, it's similar to what they did last week, and it's at this time of the year. You're just kind of trying to do what you can do. Weather out here today, not great. It was
very cold.
It was very wintry, mixy kind of day out here at Halas Hall. And look, you're just trying to get yourselves ready in whatever way you deem fit, and this is a big time game coming up, and so their formula is going to have to match what this stage requires.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff has certainly proven that they know what they're doing, but I was taken aback a little bit by that. And some of us speculated in the media room that, yeah, it's a walkthrough, but maybe a little bit more of an extended walkthrough or a few more details being implemented in the walkthrough. But they will have a full practice on Thursday, and they'll practice again on Friday before they get to the hotel on Saturday, and then it's lights, camera, action on Sunday at 5:30, baby. But let's get to this injury report. Again, participation, just an estimate. They did not have a real practice on Wednesday, but, Dan, really good to see that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was listed as a full participant after having been in concussion protocol. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. How valuable would it be to have him back? And we know that Kyler Gordon is back as well, obviously.
Yeah, 3 players in total cleared concussion protocol. Amon Ogbongbemiga, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. A lot of mouthful of names there. A lot of hyphenated and longer last names to deal with. C.J. Gardner-Johnson gives you added depth in the secondary. We know what the Bears' challenges are going to be on Sunday against a Sean McVay called, Matthew Stafford led, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams propelled Rams offense. Like, there are going to be a lot of bullets flying around, and you got to be able to stop them, and you got to be able to limit them in a way that keeps you in a football game. And so the more bodies available to you, the better. And look, like Kyler Gordon expressed today, his optimism about the way he came through last Saturday's game. If you get CJ Gardner-Johnson back in the mix, now you've got some of these chess pieces that Dennis Allen can play with, and I think they're going to have to be a little bit creative to find ways to disrupt a really, really talented MVP level quarterback who's having a terrific season.
My inclination right now is to say you're not going to get away if you have that bad of a first half like you did defensively against Green Bay. You're not going to get away with it against the San Francisco team. But I've made statements like that about the Bears all year long, and they have managed to. And there is some point in time where that is going to run out, whether it's against the Rams or even going into next year. We all know, everybody knows the Bears can't live like that. But at this point, it's silly to bet against them. But like, I could give you all sorts of logical things about this game, but it's silly to bet against the Bears in so many different regards because of the magic that this team has.
We ran into the great Tom Waddle here in the hallway today here at Halas Hall, and he was very adamant that he is picking the Bears for Sunday. And he said he's been pressed by many, many people on why, and his answer is because. That's it. It's just because that's the kind of season it's been, and because it just feels like this team is building towards something really, really, truly unforgettable. Obviously, there's more to it than that, and there's an X's and O chess match that has to be played on Sunday, and you've got a real good one with Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, and both sides trying to come up with the formula to get their team going. And I think the Bears, obviously, I think we're all in agreement that the further you get in this postseason, the margin for error shrinks. The number of tricks that you have left in your magic bag tends to be a little bit smaller. And so you better just be locked into the essence of football, right? And not just waiting for some dramatic fourth quarter rally to get you past this round.
It's funny, after all the trash talk last week and the back and forth and the whole thing between the head coaches, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me and awkward for me to hear these two coaches.
Yeah, they love each other.
They love each. It's a little too much, isn't it? I mean, we are in the glad handling portion of the week right now. I felt like that's so much of what it was as we asked like several players about Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and McVay. Like it's almost like, okay, let's get over it. Let's get back to the good. Let's get back to the good stuff.
Yeah,
man.
Hate somebody for once, right? Like get back to hating someone. Yeah, exactly. Find a way to conjure up some animosity to get you rolling. But I will say that these guys are fun to watch, and I've said it all year watching the Bears film, where you just see a Bears offense that looks unlike anything you've ever watched before. And even on the plays that don't work, you're seeing concepts and you're like, oh, I see what they were going for there, right? Like I can see the strain that puts on a defense, the motions, the shifts, the Ben's mastery of spacing and angles, of understanding his team's strengths against the defense's weaknesses. Sean McVay is every bit as good at it. It's why, as fun as this Bears season has been offensively, you're staring at a Rams offense that's the number one offense in the NFL. And you just mentioned the production they've had from those receivers, Nacua and Adams. Well, they run the ball pretty well as well with Kieran Williams and Blake Corum, and an offensive line that's able to get some movement and create opportunities. And so this Bears defense is going to be taking its hardest test of the season for sure. And they're going to have to find ways to have an impact on the game, whether it's pass rush, whether it's getting multiple takeaways, whether it's doing all of the things that they've done to fashion 12 wins this season. They're going to have to find even a little bit more on Sunday to be able to survive.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, and I'm sure Dan is going to have a lot more of this in the preview episode on Thursday, but just the numbers. I mean, Puka Nacua has had 1,715 yards this year, 10 touchdowns, an average of just over 13 yards per catch. Davante Adams, who we are all very well aware of his skill set, 72 catches for 789 yards. I believe somebody referred to him today as a technician.
Yeah.
14 touchdowns on the day. He has a 13.2 yards per catch average, just a tick below what Nacua has done this year. Davante has missed a couple of games this year. And then you mentioned the running back too, Dan. I mean, look, this guy's a problem. Kyron Williams, 1,252 yards rushing. He averages about 5 yards per carry, and they use him in 10 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's just they're they're not one dimensional. They're not one
Mm-mm.
guy. They've got a lot of talent, both from a coaching wisdom standpoint and a playmaking standpoint. So this is a huge test for the Bears to take and look like they took one of these tests a couple weeks ago in San Francisco, and they were able to get themselves into a shootout, but they also took that with TJ Edwards, who's not going to be here for this game. And they also took that with a defensive touchdown to start the game, which I think you and I might both agree that had they not gotten that, that game might have gotten a little bit out of reach sooner than they would have wanted. But that early defensive touchdown on the first snap of the game
Yeah.
actually gave them a little cushion to play with that allowed them to stay in the game. And obviously it went down to the very end as pretty much every Bears game does this year.
God, you just made me think. Can you imagine if the Bears were to start with a touchdown on defense to begin this game? I mean, I don't even know how they get that place more jacked up than it was, but I have a feeling the place is going to be more jacked up than it was.
It's going to be more jacked up, but it's going to be sort of that thud sound because of all the thick gloves that are being worn in this cold that's coming for Chicago on Sunday. It's going to be the, boom, 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 the sound of clapping mittens out there
Yeah.
at Soldier Field, and it's going to be cold out there. I'm hopeful to have some audio for you in our game preview episode from Grady Jarrett, who I know you talked to before the Bears played Cleveland when it was really cold. Well, he was back
Yeah.
talking about the weather as a Georgia boy, which I think is always entertaining to hear from Grady. And he has admitted that, when that temperature gets down near zero or below, he goes to Tony Medlin, the equipment manager here, and he asks for a little bit more gear. And so we'll have some reflection from Grady, hopefully in the next episode.
He's the best. I sure wish I would have been there for him, but I missed him. DJ Moore was just finishing out the injury report before we talk about Caleb Williams. DJ Moore limited because of a knee injury. Rome Odunze, he took it easy, or that this is the projection, I should say, because of the foot. And Nick McLeod would have been down as a DNP with the groin injury. Normally, I wouldn't sound like that when talking about Nick McLeod, but just in the name of you want every single possible body specifically in that secondary because of the guys that we just talked about. So I am tracking Nick McLeod, Dan.
Yeah, Nick McLeod started on Saturday, and then obviously Kyler Gordon came in and went the rest of the way. And so it will be a situation worth keeping an eye on. And again, they're going to need all hands on deck in that secondary. Jalen Johnson, another guy that talked today, mentioned the reunion with Devontae Adams. They've obviously had some battles over the years when Devontae was in the division and playing in Green Bay, and Jalen was very forward when he got in this building, 5+ years ago, that was a guy that he was looking forward to going up against. Well, he gets another opportunity to do so. Both of them are further along in their careers now. Different injury issues both of them have dealt with this season, and so that's going to be fun to watch too, because we've seen that before, and it's always a fun little battle.
Dan, Caleb Williams to the podium today in the interview room with us. What stood out to you about Caleb today?
Well, look, I think Caleb has put his signature on this season, right? And I think it's there in Sharpie now, and we've got enough of those indelible moments, right, where you just say, look, like this dude has done what he vowed to do when the Bears drafted him, which is become a player that does things for this organization that have never been done or haven't been done in a long time. And so you just get the sense, and I think you'd probably agree with this, that there's just a growing confidence now that he's added skins to the wall and he's had some of these plays. And Kevin Fishbane and I were talking about, obviously, the throw that everyone has talked about all week, which is that 4th and 8 to Rome Odunze and the magical, leaping jump man, whatever you want to call it, throw to Rome down the sideline. Well, that throw becomes a footnote on everything if the Bears lose that game. And as I pointed out the other day, Bears were down 11 points when he completed that throw. So there was still work to be done. And the fact that Caleb was able to make that throw and then use that as fuel to finish the comeback was huge to the story, right? Like if he throws that and then they go, 3 and out and they never take the lead again, we're never talking about that throw. It's just something that circulates on social media. Now it's an iconic throw in Bears history, right? And so, like, I think along with the confidence, I think Caleb has this really unique personality trait of understanding what unforgettable is. Like, I think you know what I mean? And I think he's after unforgettable. And it's like this weird intangible that he has where he's like, I want to be remembered forever for things like this.
It ain't nothing to him. That's what I was thinking, just to go along with what you're saying. Like, we asked a lot of questions about like the unbelievable throws. I kind of did I asked him about the people who doubted him, and now he's starting to, in some facets, look like the quarterback we thought we were going to get coming out of USC. If I could give like the aggregate answer from Caleb Williams today, it would be, I know I'm awesome, guys. I know. Like I expect, like when he was asked about the jump man meme on that throw, his response was like, "Oh yeah, I had that before at USC," and talking about how big this stuff is. And his answer is always there's always a disclaimer of, "I've played in big games, guys." Like he
Right.
truly is, and I know we've like hit people over the head with this, Dan. He truly is like perfect for the occasion. He is made for this. And I know everybody says that, but it's true. And I'm like seeing it more than ever.
I don't remember what the exact question was when he was introduced for the first time at Halas Hall the day after the draft last year, but it was something about why do you lean into all of the pressure and the expectation? And he said, what's there to duck, right? Like, and that's just the mindset and the mentality he's brought to this entire
Yeah.
experience, to this entire organization. It becomes contagious with everybody when you've got a quarterback and a head coach who are this fearless. It rubs off on people, and they've got team leaders here that exhibit that as well. It is funny because like you do get to a stage where it feels like everybody's just kind of gassing Caleb up, and like and it's just like, okay, like there's
Yeah.
still a game to play, and we'll get into some of the
Why are you
critiques
so
about it.
great?
But Caleb is also like, he's on social media in back and forth with Little Wayne, noted Packers fan Little Wayne, who's first coming at him out of bitterness that the Packers are out, and then being like, "It's all love, you're the guy." And this is where we're at with the 2025-26 Bears, where we've got these storylines that we could have never imagined when they were 0-2 and getting beat by 30 points in Detroit.
Right. And just to kind of wrap it up here on Caleb Williams, it's like he's saying, guys, I know that Bears Nation has been hurt before. I know that there's trauma in this organization, but I don't bring that. Like that's sort of what Caleb is trying, like you said, when you quoted him from the very beginning of the season, what are you talking about? What challenge? Like let's go. Let's get this thing going. It reminds me of, I always like to use this analogy of the 2016 Cubs when they got off to that crazy fast start, and Cubs fans were like, "Oh, when's the shoe going to drop? When's the sports tragedy going to occur?" And I always said that Cubs team, in a figurative sense, was always hugging Cubs fans, saying, "That ain't us. What the hurt that you felt in '69 and '84 and '03 and '07 and '08." I'll stop. And even 2015 to some degree, the Cubs were saying, it's okay. We got, and it's not as pronounced yet with Caleb Williams, but he is saying that. He's saying, that ain't me, guys. I know you guys are all talking, and I know there's doubters, and I know people critique me. I know I'm great. It's okay. And I'll get better. And look, I'm not saying, I don't want to make it sound like all of a sudden, yeah, he's the guy. He's elite, and he's the greatest quarterback and all that kind of stuff. But boy, has he taken some big steps here down the stretch of this season.
So if there is an 18-minute weather delay on Sunday at Soldier Field, who gathers this team in the weight room to get everything settled out as history looms and all that doubt comes ready to smother everybody? Who's that guy?
That's a good question, Dan. Who would give the speech? Would it be Byard, maybe? Is that too easy of a pick?
Byard, Grady, those are probably the easy ones, right? Like of the guys that would be capable of galvanizing the team really quickly in a moment like that. But yeah, it's an apt parallel because look, that 2016 Cubs team erased some demons that never need to be spoken about again. And I think the Bears and this current construct of the Bears are after similar things as they try to chart a new path forward with all the things they're setting out to accomplish.
Right. They've already eliminated, for me at least, and I know I talked about this on the last episode, but it's already eliminated the 2001, 2018 years, which I was comping this team to at one point. They won a playoff game. So no matter what, all that is wiped out. Those two teams were not capable of winning playoff games.
Well, yeah, and right, and you talk about the 2015 Cubs. It was like they did end up getting trounced in the
By the Mets. Yeah.
NLCS, right?
Yeah.
But it was okay because you had
Mhm.
already validated your season. You had beaten the rivals in a in a huge playoff series. You had stamped legitimacy on your improvement and your rapid emergence, and then it just really became a springboard for the following year. And so, there's probably some parallels there as well as you go up against the team here in the Rams that's favored, right? They're coming into your building favored. There's a lot of people that believe they're the best team left standing in the NFL of the 8 remaining. And so, like, you just have to understand, who you're getting in the ring with Sunday. You take your best swings and you see if any of them land.
One more great comp would be the 1984 Chicago Bears, where they go into way back when, the old days of the NFC Central Division, which is what the Bears were part of. And that year, what year was I talking about here?
84 Bears.
84 Bears. I had a complete brain fart right there. Sorry, this is my second update of the day. The 1984 Bears, they go into Washington. They get the unexpected, shocking, oh my God, puts the Bears on the map. They did get trounced the next week against the San Francisco 49ers and Bill Walsh. But then what happened the next year? They win the Super Bowl. So that is one last comp for you.
I love it. I was 7. I turned 8 for the playoffs of that season, and I remember that being sort of my first core football memory was the later stretches of the '84 season. That's when it really started to kind of sink in what this was and what this town felt about that football team.
Right, and they never stopped in the '80s. They stopped in the '90s,
Sure
but they
did.
didn't. They never stopped in the '80s for sure. Let's do a mini listen to this. I got a couple cuts I want to play for you, Dan, and react to. I know that you were front and center for the Kyler Gordon interview today. I was not there with him, but I got a chance to listen to the audio. I want to play a little bit of it, Dan, and then I want to just kind of hear what your insights were from being part of the scrum that was talking to Kyler Gordon. And basically what I've chosen here to play is just an update on him and his health and what he's thinking and what he's feeling, because it was his first game in forever, a playoff game for that matter, where, as you said, preface in one of your questions to him, he didn't really play a lot early on in the game. It was like this crescendo of Kyler Gordon throughout the game, and he was asked, did you feel like you got better as the game goes on? Here's Kyler.
Yeah, I just more feeling comfortable with my feet underneath me and stuff like that. So just the more the game went on, the better I felt.
How did you come out physically? Like, how did you feel the next day?
Definitely a little sore because it's been a while since I played, but still overall pretty good.
They were obviously coming after you a little bit. Is that something, like, as that's happening, kind of motivates you at the same time, like, kind of bring it on, gives you some confidence as the game goes on?
Yeah, I honestly didn't feel no type of way about it because I've already, like we said, we're kind of going back and forth a little bit. I made my plays and they had like 1 or 2, so I didn't really feel like super attacked, but no, it was smooth.
Did you know going in how much you would play? Like, was that part of the plan to kind of save you for later in the game?
Yeah, well, I let the coaches make their decision on what they wanted to do, but yeah, that's just how it played out.
Was there a moment where you thought maybe your season was over? Like, how just happy are you to be back here playing in these big moments?
Extremely happy. Yeah, no, definitely, like, it's tough times, to be able to go through like that as an athlete. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, what that's like, but even myself, not even being through that ever before myself, but obviously just being positive, letting God control the way and just knowing that, like, it's going to be on God's time. And so just having unwavering faith and being confident in myself, and now look where we are.
How are you feeling heading into this game? Do you feel like you can play a full game out there, kind of close to 100%?
Yeah, I just want to get out there, just keep doing whatever I need to be doing to stay on the field and whatever I got to give, yeah.
Dan, what'd you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, like Kyler and Jalen both seem to have this gratitude for this derailed season that has now provided them new life here with these playoff appearances, right? And the opportunity to go kind of put a happy ending on a season that's been frustrating in a lot of ways for guys that missed a ton of time this year. And so, look, they get another chance to kind of have an impact on this defense on Sunday, and you just get the sense that they are ready for it, just given everything that they've been through. And it's like, okay, I've got a new opportunity here to try to salvage what was a very injury interrupted season, particularly in the case of Kyler.
Let's see if he progresses at all. It's really tough. It's a real gray area right now because you hear the way he's talking. He just doesn't know. Like, Kyler Gordon doesn't know. He's going along with what the coaches are telling him. But look, man, he hasn't played.
The Bears don't know either. It's like it's really a feel it out as you go kind of thing. And I think that's a little bit what Saturday was about, was just trying to see it in real time and react to it. One of the plays during my rewatch that really struck me on that last Packers drive, the Bears go ahead and they're up 31-27. And the Bears have Green Bay in 4th and 7 on their side of midfield. And you're like, man, this is closing time. And then Jordan Love picks on Kyler Gordon and Matthew Golden runs it out and Kyler can't hang with them and throws a ball there. And they convert that 4th down. And for me in real time in the moment, it started to remind me of the 2013 finale when well before Aaron Rodgers converted the dagger to Randall Cobb, they were converting 4th downs where it was like Soldier Field's alive and this is it. This is the moment to throw that 3rd strike into the catcher's glove. And then the next thing you know, it's a base hit in the right and you're like, oh God, there's another guy on base, and like it felt similar there for a little bit. And so like Kyler's going to have to take a challenge here. Again, we mentioned the receivers that the Rams bring to town on Saturday. It's not going to be easy to hide in this game if you're a defensive back.
That is true. Last piece of audio I have for us, Dan and I were both involved in a conversation with Montes Sweat. Some really upbeat, poignant stuff, I thought, from Montes Sweat. Let's take a listen to it right now, and then we'll react after that. Here's Sweat. You tipped that ball on that final drive. I think it was a 2nd and 10 or something like that. How big are those plays? Do you guys depend on those plays because you guys are giving up some of the big yardage throughout the game?
I mean, it's definitely a huge play. We'd rather not be in those circumstances because, I mean, it's definitely a fast heartbeat going on and everybody is on the edge of their seats. But it's exciting. We'd rather not be in those positions, but if we are, we're comfortable in that position.
What was the atmosphere like at the Soldier last week, and what do you expect this Sunday night?
It was the best atmosphere that I've ever been a part of in my whole playing career. I was thinking about it yesterday. I mean, this is probably the most fun I've had as a player. Just playing football, playoff football, it's fun. And I mean, next week, I mean, we're expecting the same thing. I mean, the fans showed up and showed out last week. The stakes is higher this week, so I'm expecting it even bigger.
How nice is it what you just said, that this is the most fun you've ever had playing football relative to last year, which I'm guessing may have been the least fun you've ever had playing football?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sudden change for sure, man. I'm just enjoying the moment, taking it day by day. So yeah, it's a blessing.
I mean, I'm just happy for Montez after hearing that. We can critique him, and there are things to be critiqued about Montez Sweat. I'm just happy for the man in that moment.
He was one of several players who talked about Saturday night being the best environment they've ever played in. And I had goosebumps because you're just like, these guys have played a lot of football. They've done a lot of things. And then you get a chance to experience that, what that was on Saturday night. And it is so special. And I think the city is still sort of coming down off of what that was with anticipation of what this week can be as well, back in their home building against the Rams. But it's just like it really will be a game that lives forever, and like experiencing that from the lens of a Montes Sweat, from the lens of a Kyler Gordon, from a Jalen Johnson, like it's, you understand the investment they put in to finally get a chance to play on a stage like that with that type of environment. It's pretty cool stuff. And hopefully it's not the last time that they're talking about, big game environments at Soldier Field, because this team seems like it's opening a window. And we always talk about, you open the window and then you try to find a steel rod to keep that damn thing open.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I remember it was probably about the second to the last game of the year last year, and Montes Sweat had this bad season where he appeared on the injury report, I felt like every single week. And to his credit, he only missed a couple of games. But I remember it had been a while since we had talked to him. And I remember he was talking to us outside of the locker room. And I asked him just a question about, how frustrating is this? And he said, it's pretty effing frustrating. Like, he was dropping it. Like, what do you think? Like, kind of to my question. And so I juxtaposed that feeling, and even the feelings around Montes Sweat. I mean, so much has been expected out of that guy, and is justified. He is a man who is paid very handsomely to get to the quarterback. He did end up with 10.5 sacks this season. So if we are to, and we do evaluate defensive ends and edge rushers on their ability to get to the quarterback. He had a strong season this year.
Yeah, and look, like the pressure that he's creating is there too. You're going to want to see that obviously on Sunday when opportunities present themselves.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, if they're able to get a complimentary piece like Austin Booker rolling the way he's been rolling in recent weeks, you're like, okay, now you start to get kind of the engine of a pass rush to rev up a little bit, and it starts to get a little bit scarier than it has been.
I always ask you occasionally, and Cole Komet, as I did on the air, and this will be the last time I'll bring them up, but I like to ask, are the Counting Crows good? I'm asking the same question about Austin Booker. Is he good? Like I can't call it right now. Like Bears might have something in Austin Booker, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, time will tell. Time will tell. But the flashes have certainly been there, and the flashes have told you what talent evaluators around the league told you in terms of how raw he was when he came in, and what there is to work with there with that bend and that ability to go impact the quarterback. And so, consistency is the mark of success in this league. We've seen the flashes. Flashes need to turn into success.
Dan, I'm looking forward to your final thoughts here on the podcast, but I want to leave our Take the North audience with something that I think they will stand up and they will applaud. I think that's what I'm picturing right now after I read this quote from the Bears head coach, Ben Johnson. Quote, "We don't want to put ourselves in a hole against a team like this, Rams, like we've done a number of times this year. We talk about playing a complete game on offense. This is the week that it needs to happen for us to be able to beat this team." Close quote.
That's it. That's the mission. That's the message. It's what the Bears need to get done this week. And, we'll see if they can make it happen. I got one more thing for you, Grote, before we get out of here, because you asked me if the Counting Crows are good. Loyal Take the North listener, Extreme Mike, who lives out in North Carolina and is bringing his son into Chicago for the game, it's a good friend of mine, sent me a thing the other day that I'm going to have to forward you. It's an Instagram reel of a dad being asked what life was like in the 90s. And then it cuts to a montage of all the sitcoms and movies and current events, and it's set to Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins. If you are going to go back to that era of life, you're going to love this. And I haven't been able to get that song out of my head for about 12 days now. Tonight, time is never time at all.
The more singing, the better. That's what I say here on the Take the North podcast. For that guy, Dan Wiederer of The Athletic, for Adam Ski, our executive producer, I am Mark Grote saying thank you so much for listening to and watching the Take the North podcast.
Great talk. See you out there.